You remember that viral clip where Valentine Githae accused Gachagua of tribal politics? This lady is back again with the declaration that President Ruto will win the 2027 presidential election. And I just want you to watch this video before I dive further into it.
Mi kuna times mi come up at TikTok hata nashindwa what am I going to talk about, because I've been looking at the news. I'm seeing the whole contraceptives issue with Bill Gates. Nimekuwa nikiona Aden Duale akisema tutarudi 2007. Nimekuwa nikiona Methu na venye nilikuwa na kind of had high hopes with that guy, but when I heard him the way he spoke in Mbere, nikajua tribalism pia imerudia vijana, you know. And kusikia tu sai we are going back to tribal lines. Aden Duale alikuwa anasema hey, sisi watu wa Garissa tunasimama na Ruto. Mudavadi, sisi watu wa Western tunasimama na Ruto. Methu na yeye, sisi watu wa Nyambia, sisi watu wa Mbere hatuwezi simama na serikali inafanya projects Homa Bay, na hata hiyo hao watu wa Homa Bay hawakumsupport. Guys, acha niwaambie Ruto atashinda. I hate to be one that feels like that or says like that, but if we continue like this with this tribal narrative, tribal lines, yani hadi young people wameanza go into tribal lines. You know, it's a shame. It's a shame. Kenya itachange aje basi? How is Kenya gonna change? How? You know, unajua pia Kenya tufunzangwe ku think for ourselves. Na critical thinking. The education system doesn't encourage that. That's why when these politicians come and they tell us, hey, vote for this person, we don't question, right? When they say, sisi kama watu wa hii jamii tunasimama na huyu mtu, mnasimama na yeye nini amewafanyia? Gosh, sometimes it can be so demoralizing. Like, you know, I really hope we vote, Gen Zs, millennials, or anyone with this mindset of ideological change who wants better leadership and can't be swayed by tribe votes, because it's cutting very close ties. That tribal narrative is winning. I mean, that's what it feels like. Correct me if I'm wrong.
First, what do you see here? You see frustration. This means that there are some young people who went to the streets genuinely for reforms. They wanted a better Kenya. And for them, they thought it is time now for tribalist politics. But now seeing what is happening online, where people are getting back to their tribal, you know, arrangements and all that, it frustrates those who genuinely went to the streets. That is true. Additionally, what you understand here is tribal politics has deepened. If not deepened, there's a continuation of that kind of politics. And it is true. What we see online and even offline, people, you know, are back to tribal politics. And what we've seen also from the politicos or from the political class, from both sides, there's still a continuation of that kind of politics. We've heard, you know, Methu Senator saying that development shouldn't go to Homa Bay because the Homa Bay people did not vote for President Ruto. So that is something that we are seeing. And on the Ruto side, we've heard, it is true, we've heard Aden Duale, you know, talking about his community, you know, and also accusing another community of entitlement, and they will learn a lesson in 2027. Also, when you go to other places, we've heard leaders say that, you know, as a community, let's come together so that, you know, we are in a government and all that. That is politics that people said that it is old when they went to the streets. So seeing a continuation of the same truly frustrates. And at the same time, what you also abstract from this kind of frustration is that, you know, people expected ideological politics. So she's now calling, you know, or reminding young people, guys, we need to rethink. I mean, we went to the streets for what? For change. But how come you're going back to where you were? How come you're going back to your original being, where tribalism is everything? So she's calling, young people, or she's urging young people that, hey, let's rethink, let's reconsider this. Let's not go back to our normal being and think about, what is important. Think about how we can change our politics to policy, to ideologically driven politics. That's what we want. So it's also now awakening to young people, the Gen Z who went to the streets to protest President Ruto's government and demand that there must be change. Yeah, that is something that I think moving forward, you should rethink the decisions you've made to go back to where you didn't want to be some time back. You remember this? The protests were just, I think, a month ago in July. You people went to the streets and all that. You asked President Ruto to do better. So seeing you people now talking about tribe and all that, it's something that is not good. And at the same time, even if people still talk about tribe, we've heard the president himself say that we must change our politics. So if you hear it from the president, why should you endorse tribal politics? So that is something that I think moving forward, Kenyans should, I think, now have a conversation. Do we want change, or we just want things to continue the way they have been? So that's the big question, because this is not good generally for a country like Kenya that needs a springboard to development and all that, because ending tribal politics is definitely, to me, a springboard for change and everything better that we want for this country. So what do you think of her declaration that President Ruto is going to win if we continue with the current mindset that we thought we left when we went to the streets? What do you think?